All right. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad that you came. This is an exciting time to have an orientation. We actually haven't done this before, but I thought for sure this year with the move and a lot of changes, it would be a good thing to check in via Zoom as the beginning of the school year draws near, and just to make sure we all know what's going on and how to start the school year as smoothly as possible. So thank you for joining us. I'm going to share a PowerPoint. So get rid of it. Okay. I think you'll be able to, yes, I'm told by my computer that you can see my PowerPoint. So let me go start there. Okay, so thank you for coming. This is our orientation for Mid-Metro Academy for the 2023-2024 school year. We're very excited to be joining on this adventure with you for the coming school year. So this will give us all some common ground as we start the school year and help everybody know how to make it all run smoothly. So first, we are expecting a banner year, whatever that means. But to me, it just means it's shaping up to be our most exciting and best year yet since we started in the fall of 2020. Of course, when you start in a pandemic year, hey, there's not much direction to go but up. So, so we have gone up, and this year is shaping up to be very exciting and very fun, especially because of our new Roseville location and some changes we made to our schedule where we moved our classes that used to be on Wednesdays. We have moved to Fridays. So, sorry about that. I'm just adjusting what I can see here. There you go. That might be better. Okay. So, oops, now I clicked it away from the screen I wanted. Okay. Okay, there we go. So I'll give you a little brief update on the state of our academy, and then we'll get into some of the specifics about how everything's going to work this year, and changes, if you've been with us before, changes that will be different from previous years. And then, of course, if you haven't been with us, you don't know what's new and what's different. But we'll talk about kind of some of the procedures that we have. So we have so far 127 member families who have students registered for classes for this coming year. So we're very excited about that. There are 190 students who are signed up for classes, and that is for about 570 separate classes that students are taking. Some students come and just take one class, and some students really pack out 1 or even 2 days of their schedule with us. The average is about 3 classes that students take with us, but it can totally be all across the board, and that's how we're structured. We are structured as an a la carte academy, so you can take one or you can take many classes with us, whatever works for you. Just a review of Mid-Metro Academy's purpose. We are here to connect homeschooling families to professional, dynamic, and caring teachers. You guys as members are what makes the academy, and our teachers are what make the academy. They are that core service. They are the service that we provide to our families. We want to provide a wide range of classes. So we have our core academics, we have electives, we have enrichment classes. So whatever the homeschool family is looking for that meets your needs, that's what we want to be able to provide. We also have an opportunity, and what we are committed to is being able to deliver quality education that is consistent with your family's values. And we know that's a big reason why a lot of families homeschool in the first place, is that they want to be able to match the education that their students are getting with the family values that they hold and that are important to them. And not giving up that really key part of education, because education just encompasses values to such a great degree. So we do that. And then we offer teens a positive, supportive, engaging place to learn in person with peers. So when it comes to educating during the teen years, we know that that social component, that peer-to-peer learning, becomes increasingly important as students age and near adulthood. But we want to do that in a way that's very supportive, very positive, encouraging, and also engaging. And so that's why we really believe in the in-person class model, not saying that sometimes online classes can meet a need and fill a void in an educational plan, but we're really convinced that the in-person classroom setting that's dynamic, give and take, interactive, is the way that students learn best and will retain what they've learned. So those are what we have as a purpose and what we provide to our families. We also have very important values that we structure everything around that we do. First of all, we're a Christian academy. And so we want to honor the Lord and give Jesus Christ the honor that he is due. We follow the golden rule given by Jesus, which means that we treat other people with kindness and respect. We also look at people as created by God and having unique God-given gifts and talents, their own personalities, their aptitudes that are unique and important and placed in them by God. We believe in brain power and using the brains that God gave us, using critical thinking skills so that we understand the why behind our actions, thoughts, and behaviors and attitudes. We also shun the idea of perfectionism. Okay, homeschoolers can fall into that trap, and it's something that we want to be aware of and say, we know that mistakes happen. They're going to happen. And our kids are allowed to make mistakes. And mistakes can actually be the catalyst for discovery, for deeper relationships and for personal growth. So having that idea of it's okay to make a mistake, that teaches that resilience, which more and more that I'm reading nowadays is saying the young people now, they need to learn that resilience, that ability to bounce back from hardship. And if you're not allowed to make a mistake, you don't learn that, right? So as homeschoolers, we know that that's allowed and that is a pathway to growth. And then the idea that every person, as I mentioned, has that treasure within. And as we interact with each other in a positive learning environment and building those supportive relationships, that helps to draw out the treasure that God has put within each of us. All right, so now we'll get into some of the important information for students and families. Before I go on, though, I do want to just specifically thank all the people who have made it possible for us to move to our Roseville location, that transition. So we had people yesterday helping us move out of St. Mark's and move into the new building. We've had a couple of different volunteer days where people came to spruce up the outside of the building and then to work on cleaning up the inside of the building. So just so many hands have been given to us, helping hands, and people really enjoyed it and working together. So just love that about homeschoolers, and that everybody pitched in, and it's greatly, greatly appreciated. And then also a lot of people just extending, good wishes to us and thanking us for what's been happening, the good things that have been happening. So your words of encouragement mean a lot as well. And of course, all the thanks and praise goes to God. He has really orchestrated this amazing transition, and just feel very good that his hand is upon us as we make this move. And also, we're just so thankful for Advent Lutheran Church. They have been just amazing, so accommodating to us, and so refreshing to deal with, that they just want to help us. I'm not saying St. Mark's didn't, but they have just really partnered with us so far in a way that's been very, very encouraging. So now let's get into some of these procedures. So if you don't know, the first day of classes is Friday, September 8th, if you are taking Friday classes. If you are taking Monday classes, those begin on September 11th. Now, here's the big thing that you'll need to know right off the bat, and this is about the drop-off and pickup process. So I have here a diagram of the parking lot that Advent Lutheran Church created for us. So here's the church building, of course, and then here's the parking lot. So up here this way is Hamlin Avenue. So then when you arrive, there's two driveways to this west parking lot, which runs along Hamlin. So what you want to do is come in the southernmost driveway into the west parking lot. That's over here. And then you'll drive down following these arrows to this drop-off and pickup zone, this kind of L-shaped area. That will be where you'll slow down and stop and let your student out. So what we envision is that you would stop your car here and allow students to exit on the curb side. That would be the safest way, rather than having them exiting here where there could be cars going by. So stop and drop off here, and then make a left-hand turn and exit out of the north driveway onto Hamlin. So in other words, we only want one-way traffic going through this parking lot, right? So anytime you come in over at the southernmost one, and anytime you leave, leave on the northernmost driveway. Okay, now let's talk. So when the students get out, they'll get out here. This here is the education wing. All of this, the west and the south and the east, okay? This part is all what we consider the education wing. So your student will get out. This is a sidewalk, and walk along this sidewalk. Not entering here. It's only in red there because the other group that meets at the church will be using this entrance, but we won't. So your student will come all the way over to the purple one here, which is the D4 entrance, and enter there through some wide double doors that are there. So it'll be a little walk down the sidewalk to get to our entrance. This will be the only entrance that is open to students or parents from the outside. To maintain the security of the building, everything else is going to be locked. So this will be and the entrance that will be open, and everybody who comes in has to pass the front desk person. So that is how our security will be maintained in the building. All right, so here you can see a picture of the drop-off area. So that part of the curb that's marked with yellow, that's where you want to come in from over this direction and stop and drop off and then exit out to your left. And this then is the sidewalk that students will walk down to get to the entrance 4. Whoops, go back. And this is a picture of entrance 4 as you'll see it as you enter. So this is the only one that will be open to students to go through as they arrive in the morning. Now, what about parking? If a student is driving, that student should park along this edge of the parking lot in the west parking lot. So this is Hamlin Avenue where this car is driving. You can see that Autumn Grove Park is across Hamlin Avenue. So if you're facing that sign, you're facing the right way. Oops. And you want to park right along, put your front bumper right along the grass edge here of the west parking lot. However, if you, if you are a parent and staying, so let's say you're coming to do your volunteer slot, or you're coming to spend some time in the parent lounge while your student's in class, or you just need to pop in and ask a teacher a question or give your kid his lunch or something like that. Then you would park as parents against, this is the east side of the west parking lot. So you see these posts, okay? You would face your car toward those posts. It also faces the playground. So that will be your sign that you're facing the right way if you're facing the playground when you park there. So that is for parent parking. And then teachers and staff will actually use the parking lot on the other side of the building. So that will leave plenty of room, we believe, in this parking lot for parents who are staying and for students who are driving themselves. All right, so now you arrive at door 4. And you go through those double doors, and this will be the first thing you see. This will be our welcome desk. And usually on Mondays, you'll find Heather Hawes, our program administrator, standing there to welcome you to Mid-Metro Academy. As you can see, there's a window that goes right behind the welcome desk into the fellowship hall, and I'll talk more about that space in a moment. But students will sign in. There will be a printout with all the students who are registered for classes that day. And students will just need to find their name in alphabetical order and check off that they have arrived. And then they will be free to go to their designated area. Oops. Okay, yes. All right, then during the day, if students need help with anything, they got a paper cut, they need some feminine products, they need to go home because they're just feeling ill, they can come out here to the front desk, to the welcome desk, and speak with the program administrator about whatever kinds of needs they have. And let's say they're just having a lousy day, okay? And maybe they feel like, you know, right now they just cannot sit in class. That happens, okay? We know that happens. And Heather's one of the greatest people to talk to when that happens. So if anything like that ever comes up, students feel totally free to go up and, you know, let Heather know that you need a little bit of time before you head out to your class, or you need what? You need a kind word and a smile. You'll find it there. So please access Heather in that way when you need to. If Heather's ever not on duty, we will have a parent volunteer there, and all our parents are the same. Okay, they will be willing and ready and able to help any students who need a little bit of extra TLC. So that's the place to go. Then at the end of the day, well, the end of the day for that student. So if the student is only taking one class, they finish the class, then they're going to come back to the welcome desk, sign out. So that same sign-in sheet will have an in and out box. They'll find their name again and check the out box, and then they're free to go. So we do want to maintain that record of students coming and going. So please advise your students, or students, if you're listening, please be sure to check out every day. That just, if ever, we needed to get a hold of you, a crisis in the family, Lord forbid, or something, but we want to easily be able to go and see they checked in, they checked out, so no, they're not on campus anymore. Or if they didn't check out, they should be here. Right. So that's an important little step of control and for security, just for everyone's benefit. Okay. Now, parents, I mentioned that you could stay on campus, especially if you have your student just taking 1 hour, one period of class, then maybe you don't feel like going home and coming back. So feel free to park yourself in the narthex. Advent Lutheran Church has graciously and hospitably offered us this space where parents can just wait in a nice, lovely area where they could talk or just check your emails or do a little bit of work of your own while you're waiting for your student to be out of class. And yes, we'll have a little tea cart there, so you can have some coffee or tea while you're waiting as well. And also, like, maybe you're doing errands in the area. There's all kinds of great places to go in the Roseville area to get some of those errands done while your student's in class. But if you finish up early and it's the middle of winter, January, don't feel like you've got to sit in your car with it running, but come on in to the parent lounge and just hang out for those last 10-15 minutes until your student is ready to be picked up. Now, I want to speak about our open campus policy. An open campus means that we are not responsible for keeping your student in place until you get back. You are responsible to make sure that your student knows the expectations your family has about when they can be in the building and when they can be out of the building. So now that we have this lovely green space around the building, we want to be able to take advantage of it if that is acceptable to you for your students. So students will be allowed to play or hang out outside during the lunch period, or even if they have a free period study hall. So they may leave the building. If they do, they will be unsupervised. So we will not have any adult monitors monitoring the playground area, the yard space, anything outside the walls of the building. So if they are in class, if they are in study hall, or if they are in lunch, they will be under adult supervision. But the minute they go outside the doors, no longer under our supervision. So that is where you want to make sure that your student understands your family's rules about when they can be inside or outside the building. So for instance, over lunch, look at this lovely tree. Okay, that's right out the door. I understand it turns an amazing color this fall, so I'm really anxious to see how that looks. I think very vibrant purple, so we'll see. But yeah, on a great day, students might want to just bring their lunch out there and sit under that tree, right? Which they are allowed to do. We would allow them to do. If you don't want to allow them to do that, then it's up to you as a parent to make sure that they know that they are to remain in the building. So you decide that with your student and ask. Okay, looks like I have a chat. I'm just going to check a moment. So the question is, do students need to sign out to go outside? No, the policy will be they only sign out when they're actually leaving the entire property. So if they plan to go outside but remain on the property, the yard, or the playground, then they should not sign out. So assuming that they are haven't signed out, we think they're on the property or in the building. Okay. All right. I think that answered that question. Good. Let's see. Oops, sorry, I'm losing my spot here. Okay, so I think that hopefully that's clear what we mean by open campus. We don't keep them under lock and key and in cuffs or anything. So when they can go outside because they're all 12 and older. So we believe our students are old enough to play outside by themselves. Would mention that there have been and are bees and wasps on the property. So we can't, we can't keep your student from being stung. So if that's an issue for you, take whatever precautions you need and you have the EpiPen if there's an allergy, something like that. So there are risks of being outside. There are risks of being on a playground. You can fall, twist your ankle. You can trip while you're running around and get stung by an insect. So those are kind of things that's part of life, and that is not something that Mid-Metro Academy or Advent Lutheran Church would be responsible for or liable for, but I think our parents will understand that. So again, if that's a concern, then make sure your student knows that you want your student in the building at all times if that's your policy. All right, we do have some areas that are off limits on the property, so I want to point out some of those. This is in the fellowship hall where students will be having study hall and lunchtime. There's a little altar area there, and as you can see, there's a wooden guardrail. So students are allowed to sit on the edge of that platform on the near side of that guardrail, but they are not allowed to go back behind the guardrail into what would be considered the altar space. And they're not allowed to sit on those pews there at the altar. In the same way, the narthex, which was the area for the parent lounge, students would not be allowed to go back there. So that welcome desk that you saw, students cannot go. If you come in the building, go right to the welcome desk. Anything to the left of that welcome desk is off limits for students. Parents can go into the narthex area, but students should not be going into that area, which is the church area, at all. Anything to the right would be where the classrooms are. So the narthex and the sanctuary and the church offices would be off to the left of that welcome desk, and all those areas are off limits, unless there might be occasions when a teacher would take a student into the sanctuary for a music lesson or something like that. So obviously if students are accompanied by a teacher, they can go back there, but not otherwise. All right, some more areas that are off limits. All of the area outdoors that is around the church part of the building. So you saw on that parking lot map, the one side was the education wing, the other side is the church wing. So all of the exterior around the sanctuary and the narthex is areas where we don't want our students to be. They should not be in the east parking lot at all. And beyond the east parking lot in the back of the church is a woods that is Advent property, but we don't want students going into that area. Poison ivy, who knows what else. And also there's nothing to do back there, so John Mock, our forensic science teacher, is going to set up a crime scene back there. So when students in that class go with Dr. Mock, they'll be able to go into the woods to analyze the crime scene. But other than that, it's not a place where students should be hanging out. There is, beyond the playground, behind the playground, there's a fenced garden area that the Hmong congregations use for growing, for community garden. So students should not go in that. It's a fenced off area. They should not go in there. There are a lot of trees on the property that have low-hanging branches. These are not climbing trees, okay? So under no circumstances should a student climb a tree or, take a twig or a branch and like beat on the branches of a tree or on the trunk of a tree. I've seen kids doing that. No, just be kind to the trees, okay? No swinging on any low-hanging branches or anything like that. There are various storage areas within the classroom wing. Students should stay out of those and out of any cupboards unless a teacher has asked you to go in for a specific reason. The other group that is in the building is Knox Academy. They have classes there on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So a lot of their materials, equipment may be sitting out, like some electronic keyboards in particular. None of those belong to Mid-Metro Academy. They're not used for our classes, so nobody should touch any keyboard or any other. There's a piano in the East Room. That shouldn't be touched. Any other musical instruments or sound equipment that is out should not be touched by our students. We have a kitchen that could be used with a refrigerator. However, we have a culinary arts class that's going to be in there, same kitchen, from 12:30 to 2, and the teacher needs time from 12:05 to 12:30 to get the class set up. So if your student is going to bring something for lunch that needs to be refrigerated, it could happen, but your student has to go immediately at 12 o'clock, as soon as it's dismissed from second period, to that refrigerator, get the stuff out, because once 12:05 comes, no students can be in the actual kitchen area. Okay, here are pictures of some of the off-limits areas. This is the main entrance to the church. There's a circle drive that goes up to that. Nobody should drive on that circle drive. Nobody should enter this entryway. This is coming around the east side. There's more entrances. There's a nice little sitting area, which is off limits to students. Parents who are using the narthex could use this area. There's a lovely little decorative wall here that is not playground equipment. So no students should ever be climbing or even leaning against this. This whole area, students should not be in. Here's the playground, which is fine. Students can play on the playground or hang out in the playground area. But here's the Hmong garden area that I was speaking of, and it's all fenced in. So students should just not go into that area or near it. And then this is the sanctuary side of the church with all the beautiful colored blocks. So that's a part of the lawn that students should not be on. There's an Advent church, a long Advent church sign, and students should stay to the south of that Advent church sign. Anything to the north would be off limits for students. All right, now here is our study hall room, so fellowship hall. We'll have these tables kind of spread out. So we're going to have the side closest to the altar area is going to be the social study hall. So students are free to talk, play games, listen to media, watch media, listen together, listen to some music if the volume's down, right? We still don't want this to get noisy. So keep a volume level moderate. Then on this near side of the fellowship hall will be some tables for quiet study hall. So students who actually want to study during study hall, and yes, we have had those, they will have a quiet area on this side that'll be designated for the people who want to actually get some work done in study hall. This is the same room that will be used for the lunch period. So lunch on Mondays is from 12 o'clock to 12:30. Also on Fridays, but on Fridays, the schedule varies a little bit. So some people might want to be eating lunch before, for instance, Dr. Mock's forensic science class starts at noon. So maybe they have a free period before that and they want to eat lunch. Okay, so it's a little bit more fluid on Fridays. Just know that there probably won't be enough chairs in this room for everybody who wants to eat lunch in there. So chairs are kind of at a premium. So they will be spread out into the classrooms, and we're not using any classrooms for lunch. This is the only room that lunch can be eaten in. So if you don't get a chair, you're free to sit along that edge of that platform where the altar is, as long as you stay this side of the railing. So some kids can sit there. And you're free to have a little powwow in a free area on the floor. Okay, this we used to back at Yay Academy, if anybody remembers those days. That's how lunch was eaten. Okay, people would just go down in the gym and make a little circle on the floor and eat with a group of friends. So that is an option as well. Another chat here. Question is, could a kid bring in a folding chair? So I think we're going to play it by ear on this whole chair thing. So if it seems like we could grab a chair from a nearby classroom and that student would take responsibility to bring it back where it came from, maybe. So I think we'll play it by ear and see how much of a issue the chair situation turns into. And of course, when it's nice outside, a lot of students will want to just take their lunch outside. So in this area, there is going to be a microwave, a coffee Keurig machine, and a hot water dispenser. Those will not be in the kitchen. Those will be, I didn't show it here, but off to this area in the tiled area, there is a rolling counter, and that'll have a microwave on it that students will be able to use. Again, the fridge you'd have to get to before 12:05. So we found before that not a lot of students kept things in the fridge at St. Mark's, even though it was available to them. So I think a lot of students bring their lunches in insulated bags, and I think that's the most convenient. But if you want to use the fridge and microwave, that is an option for you. Oh, someone has said that the forensic science teacher said that students could eat their lunch in the forensic science room during the first 15 minutes of class. And that is, I think that's important because someone might go directly from like say Dave Racer's class, which is the second period, contemporary issues, and then right into forensic science and not really get a lunch break. So yes, that would be the one room that lunch would be allowed to be eaten in other than the fellowship hall. So thanks for bringing that up. Okay. All right, now restrooms. So restrooms are at a premium in this building, okay? We do not have a large multi-unit restroom for either boys or girls. The girls' multi-bathroom has 2 stalls. And we know this is not going to work. Okay, so what we also have will be another individual use restroom between South 2 and South 3. So the science room and the art room along the south corridor. That will be designated as a girls' restroom only. So girls can use that one. Now, even that means that not everyone's going to get a chance to use the restroom during the class changing period, okay, from, you get 5 minutes to pass from the end of one class to the beginning of the next. So not everyone's going to get a chance to use the restroom during that time. So what the answer is that students will need to leave class if they need to use the restroom and did not have a chance to use it between classes, and we totally understand that. So no teacher is going to give students any issues about that. In fact, you don't even need to ask students. Just quietly get up and leave the room, go to the restroom, come back quietly. You don't have to interrupt the class by asking. But just make sure that if you saw a classmate leave, then don't you leave until they come back, right? So only one person in a given class, because otherwise you won't know if they're not in your class if somebody's gone. But one person at a time from a given class leaving to use the restroom as needed. But let's keep your time in there like really short. So no one's going to be hanging out in restrooms, and go in, get out, so that other people will have a chance to use the facilities. All right, we're coming down to the end of our meeting here. So I just have a few more things to talk about. And that is how to get the most out of Mid-Metro Academy this year. We'll talk about some student responsibilities and some parent responsibilities. So here we go, students. Pay attention in class. Well, yeah. What are you there for? You're there to gain something out of what's happening there, and you won't unless you pay attention. So please pay attention to what's going on in class. I know some students have attention deficit issues, but to the best of your ability, obviously, pay attention. I have a question about Wi-Fi I'll come to in a moment. Whoops. I always get off the slide when I answer a chat. Okay, so students, participate. To get a lot out of something, you have to put a lot into it. If you were in a sports team and all you did was sit on the bench, you wouldn't improve your skills and you wouldn't have fun. The way to have fun and improve your skills and knowledge is to engage with what is going on in the classroom. So I always tell my students that, you have 2 jobs, participate and the 4th bullet there. So part of participating obviously is interacting with teachers and students. So, raise your hand when a teacher asks a question, when there's a group discussion, a class discussion, give your feedback, give your perspective. That's how we all learn, right? And that's what makes the learning interesting and fun. Do your best. Everybody has a different capability level. That's fine. What you want to do is be doing the best that you are capable of doing. You should, before you leave class, make sure that you understand what the teacher has asked you to do for that week. Okay. So I often have students who will just come up to me at the end of class and say, okay, so I'm supposed to do this, this, and this. I appreciate that, right? They are confirming with me, even though I went over at the end of class what to do. They're going to come up and get an individual confirmation that I need to do this, this, and this. To me, that's impressive. That shows that the student is taking ownership and is really being conscientious about making sure that he or she understands what's supposed to be done over the week. You only meet once a week. So this is the time to get it from your teacher, right? So clarify it if you need to before you leave your classroom. I highly recommend using a planner to keep track of your assignments and the due dates. Please do your homework. I don't think very many of our teachers assign busy work homework. The homework that you're given is really meant to help solidify the learning that your teacher wants you to have and your parents want you to have. So do that homework, do your best, give it enough time. Don't do all your homework for the week on Sunday night for your Monday classes. I know sometimes that happens, at least with my class, because I get emails on Sunday night. Can I get the checklist? Okay, so try to plan out your time so you can get it. But better Sunday night than not at all, than turning it in late, right? So turn your homework in on time and ask for help when you need it, whether that's from your parent or from the teacher or even from a peer. It's really good to make friends of people, peers in the class. So then you can kind of say, I didn't quite get this instruction. And then you can verify it with your friend, which might be easier than and less embarrassing than asking the teacher, right? Okay. Let's see. Oops. Okay. Students also sign in and sign out. Clean up after yourself. We have a lot of people, 100 people a day, 150, I think it is, we'll have on campus on Mondays. So that's a lot of people that can leave a lot of mess if they don't clean up after themselves. So clean up after yourself and make it your motto to leave the place better than you found it, right? I used to see at St. Mark's, like I'm walking down the main hallway, and there's a scrap of paper lying in the middle of the hallway. How many students pass it before I get to it and I stoop and pick it up, right? That shouldn't be happening. You see a scrap of paper, you pick it up, right? That makes the place better for everybody. You will be asked to help take down and set up for certain classes. Question is, when will the student handbook be handed out? The handbook is posted on the website under, I believe it's under the About tab. So there's a policy handbook. There may be, I think there will be some things that I'm going over tonight that will still need to be added to that as far as like what areas are off limits. But the basic handbook is already posted. Wi-Fi, so I don't forget to come back to that. Yes, we have Wi-Fi. We have to kind of see how much traffic we have that is going to be using the Wi-Fi and how much that slows it down. But we, Knox, which is the other group, put in a new Wi-Fi system, and we are partnering with them on that. So if it turns out to be too bogged down, we'll have to figure out what to do. But there is Wi-Fi, and you'll have the password when you come. Okay, so students will be asked to maybe fold up tables or chairs and bring them to a certain area or set them up. So we have to take down our own stuff and put up the stuff, arrangements the way Knox Academy wants them, because we came late to the game. Knox Academy was already in place with a lease before we got in there. So our responsibility at Mid-Metro is both to set up for ourselves, which may be different from the Knox arrangement, and then to reset it for Knox Academy. And it's too much we have a cleaning person come in, but that's too much for her to do. So we're going to just ask everybody to pitch in a little bit. If everybody takes one chair and one table, then it's done for that room, right? So that's what we'll be asking you to do if you're, depending on the classroom that you're in. We want you to smile and laugh and have fun. This is great. We're all learning together. We're in a friendly, supportive environment. So what's not to love? So when you come, have fun, enjoy yourself. And to say a kind word to somebody else who looks like they need it. We know that mental health issues are becoming more and more prevalent, more and more serious at younger and younger ages. And a lot of things go into that, but we can all make an effort to address that with the people that we rub shoulders with. And if you can give an encouraging word and a smile, you often don't even know how far that's going to go in somebody's life. But you can be that person who cheers somebody else up, right? Be a good steward. That means taking care of the things that we have to take care of. And a good citizen, to go the extra mile, ask what you can do to help. Know and follow the behavior policies in the handbook, and you can ask for what you want and need, right? that is something that is your due. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want and need. Communicate to your teachers and to others clearly. This is your chance to learn communication skills. And practice gratitude daily. This is a very good exercise for your own mental health, is just to think of all the great things that you have going on in your life. Okay. Let's see. I think that was it for students. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. Now, parents' responsibilities. So the behavior policy, each year we ask you to make sure that you have reviewed the behavior policy with your students. So find that posted online. It's just like a page of the policy handbook. It's at the very end. And just sit down and review that with your student so they're aware and they can't say, oh, I didn't know that was a policy at Mid-Metro. Okay. Then also make sure that you discuss that open campus policy. What are your expectations for when a student is allowed to go outside of the building or when you want them to be inside? Parents are asked to perform one volunteer slot per semester. So if you didn't already pitch in with one of our cleanup days or moving day, there will be a volunteer schedule. Heather, our administrator, is in Florida right now on a much needed vacation, well deserved. But she'll be back, and when she gets back, she'll put together that volunteer schedule. So we're mostly looking for people who can help with the setup of our classrooms on Friday mornings. And then maybe the Knox classrooms on Monday afternoons, and probably some fill-in times at the front desk. Because the welcome desk is so close to the study hall, we may not need separate study hall monitors this year. So Heather's working on all that, and she'll get that figured out. Please follow the drop-off and pickup procedures as we discussed, and please read your emails. I know you get it deluged, and I'm the the main cause of your getting deluged with emails, but I appreciate your reading them and paying attention to them to the extent that they involve you and impact you. This is a really quick, oops. Get it back. This is now I have to move. what I'm seeing here. The policy, a brief discussion of the policy manual. So it talks about the prohibited items, and it talks about student dress. Please dress appropriately in clothing that does not reveal too much skin or cause distraction. Don't wear a t-shirt that has a potentially offensive message written on it. And costumes are not allowed except for approved events. Last year, I believe we did one near Halloween time. We had a costume day. So we may do that again, but otherwise don't wear a costume. If it's for something you're doing in a class, you would wear it for the class time, but then you'd have to change out of it for the rest of the school day. Again, just to emphasize, students must remain in the designated areas only and not going into areas outside of what I've said they can be at. So they can be on the east yard behind the education wing, but not going over to the narthex side. Okay, so that would be not in the parking lot, but on the lawn. And then, of course, in the playground. And then at the side of the playground, there's a tree that has a V branch, and that's parallel to the garden. So don't go beyond that. Use that tree that has the V trunk as your boundary to the south. And then you can go over to the west parking lot. So that whole south side of the yard is okay. And then the whole west side of the yard up to the Advent Lutheran side, right? So that's a big area, but we don't need to go off into the other areas. That's plenty of yard space. So please just keep those areas in mind. Of course, students should respect others and their property. We are using property that belongs to Knox Academy and to Advent Lutheran Church. We're using things and ours, and then things that have been purchased brand new. You know, at St. Mark's, there were a lot of tables that had writing and carving on them. That was done by students. I don't know if it was, I know some of it was done by Mid-Metro students. And some of it perhaps by some of the other students that use the room. But why? Okay, tables are not for writing and tables are not for carving. Certainly the walls and any other equipment is not for writing on or carving on. And we had some graffiti issues in the past. So let's not do any of that. Any student who is found doing that will be subject to discipline and also asked to compensate monetarily whoever they destroyed the material, the possessions of, right? That's only fair. So no carving, no writing on things that are not supposed to be written on. And again, students may be asked to help set up, and we really appreciate that. All right, parents, there are three types, we have noticed, three types of Homeschool Academy parents. There is the helicopter parent who wants to be right there and making sure everything is done right and making sure everything, the student understands everything and does everything step by step. That's probably too much guidance for students in most of our classes. So part of what they're learning when they're taking these outside classes is to be an independent learner and time management on their own. So now's the time to start loosening the strings and letting the students kind of handle some of this stuff on their own. The type 2 would be the supervisor parent. This parent keeps track of what the student's assignments are every week, checks in with the student. Did you get that stuff done? Maybe helps the student section out parts of the day for time to work on different classes. All that is great, okay? But this parent also allows the student to fail sometimes as the student is learning to be independent. So that is the type 2 parent. The type 3 parent is like the, oh, I got a teacher hired, you know, that's it for me. That's the hands-off parent, right? And that's not ideal either. Students need some supervision, because what happens is the parent is hands off all year. And then at the end of the year finds out that the student completed maybe a quarter of the assignments. And at that point, what's the point of going back? It's a little late at that point to do those assignments. And then the teacher will be asked to give a grade, but the teacher doesn't have much to base the grade on, right? So obviously the ideal one is that happy medium place where you can find out, how much supervision do I need to give my student to create the ideal level of success for the student, where they are learning to manage their own time and learning to take responsibility for their own assignments, but they're not left out to dry either. And the parent can give a right amount of assistance to help assure the student success without being too hovering, right? Okay, I see I have a couple of chats, so let me go in here. Yes, we have a helicopter icon. I like that. Okay. Okay. Now there are a few extra things, parents, that could make this year more fun and memorable for you. One of them is picture day. So we are not going to require photo IDs this year. So we feel that the way we have the check-in procedure, all the rest of the entrances locked, we feel we have a very secure setup at Roseville, where we won't need to have those student IDs. So we still will have a picture day, and you could still order a student ID. It's just that they're not going to be required for your checking in and checking out purposes. So a lot of families like this picture day. It's a chance you can get your Christmas photo done, right? You can have a group shot done of the whole crew, including parents if you want. And then you can have the individual school photos to mark the progression through the grades. So it's a really great service that Tina Culbertson does for us. She does lovely work, and she will be doing that for us on October 23rd. That's a Monday. So I know that it might not be convenient for people who only come on Fridays. If you can come on Monday just to get your picture taken, that would be the way to do that. There's a question about, is there a list of which rooms the classes are held in? On the website, the schedule is up to date as far as rooms. So what we know right now, the decisions we've made of which classes meet where is all reflected on the schedule that you see on the website under midmetroacademy.com/register. Okay, that is the one that's up to date. Make sure that in the address bar it says /register. That is the one. There might be a couple of different places to find the schedule on the website, but you want the one that says /register, and that will have the updated rooms. But when you come to campus, there will be a posting outside each room that shows which classes meet in that room. Okay, and of course, Heather will be able to direct you to the right classes as well. But your first stop is to go to midmetroacademy.com/register, and that will tell you the rooms. And then I'm going to post this, the video of this. Well, I'm also going to email out that parking lot diagram. So you'll have that, and then that shows you the locations of the rooms on that diagram. Okay, so other things you can do. We're hoping to have some fun workshops this fall, probably on Fridays. Suzanne Beck had offered some art classes that didn't fill, but they would be really great. So we're thinking of breaking them up into little workshops. So the fabulous fiber crafts and also the drawing faces and maybe some other things that she has, because she does teach these workshops around the Twin Cities. So we'll probably do that. Mr. Racer is interested in possibly having some workshops for parents and students. on various topics. And if you have something that you're interested in, oh, my husband, Bob Miller, is going to do a Remember the Room workshop, because a lot of parents are interested in the memory techniques that he teaches in Memory and Magic. So some things like that. And if you have things you'd like to see, email me on that if you have some ideas of things you'd like to see. Please feel free to jump in and organize a social event. So last year we had somebody do a picnic at Como Park. We could possibly use the Autumn Grove Park across the street from the church. Or other possibilities. We have Ingrid Larson, who does the Trollhagen and ski events in the winter. So that's all open if somebody wants to come up with somebody, or be a chess club advisor or Scrabble club. I'm waiting for a Scrabble club for somebody to do, right? I'll be there. If I can. So you could ride share with another family. We have the forums on the website where you can communicate with other Mid-Metro members. If you have your own personal business, please post it to our business directory. That you'll see when you are logged into the site. It's under, I believe, the parent tab. So you can put a free listing up in that, so we can buy from each other if we have services or products that Mid-Metro members are selling. Yes, the comment was that if Dave Racer offers anything, yes, take advantage of it. He is amazing. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Okay, sorry about that. Let me get this back. I don't have good control over this. Oh yeah, and yeah, if you spend some time in the parent lounge, you'll probably make some friends with some other parents. And then we plan to have our holiday open house, which was a great, really fun last year. We did it on the last Monday, the second to the last Monday of the semester, right after school was out. And I think we'll do that again. That was a lot of fun. We had little games and a ugly Christmas sweater contest and stuff like that. So I think we'll do something like that again. That would be December 11th. So keep that in mind. And that's it. So do we have any questions? Anyone can unmute yourself if you have a question, or you can put it in the chat if you want something. Thank you. Otherwise, I will be sending out an email with a lot of this information as well, that you can kind of like bookmark and have. And then for people who weren't here with us, this video will be posted as well. But thank you for being part of Mid-Metro. It's so great to have all of you with us. Bye-bye. All right, so.
And thank you, Ms. Hope, for all your hard work. And this wouldn't happen without you, so we really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. Wouldn't happen without all of you either. Okay, I'm gonna stop share. Okay, any other questions or anything? Thank you very much. Have a great night. Question? No.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Look forward to seeing you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.